ladies and gentlemen, Cocoy Laurel and the one and only superstar, Miss Nora Aunor.
Nora, the superstar, captivated the nation with her extraordinary voice and raw emotional acting, while Cocoy carved his own path in theater and music. Their worlds collided on stage and on screen, but their chemistry extended far beyond their artistic collaborations. Their love was a sanctuary, quiet, deep, and real. In each other, they found not only a romantic partner, but an artistic mirror. Cocoy was not just a singer for Nora, he was also a painter, and his portraits of her were personal gifts from one artist to another, from one soul to its counterpart. The first oil painting, made in Madrid. The first gift oil painting holds a special and intimate place in the quiet legacy of their connection. It was more than a gift, it was a bridge across distance. A gesture from one soul, reaching out to another across countries, time zones, and unspoken feelings. This oil painting, created in foreign land, was deeply personal and expressive. He likely drew inspiration from the old world beauty of Madrid. And yet, the subject of his painting was Nora, his muse from across the sea. By painting her while abroad only proved that Nora was never out of his mind and heart, that even in the artistic cradle of Europe, it was her face, her spirit, and her memory that stirred his creativity. The superstar painting. The superstar painting is perhaps the most iconic and emotionally charged among the artworks he created for her. It was a love letter on canvas. The superstar painting depicts her as a goddess in a flowing gown with roses being thrown at her, symbolizing the admiration she received from her fans. This portrait reflects his reverence and awe for her as a timeless performer. He described it as his vision of her on stage, in her element. He didn't just paint her as the superstar, but the woman behind the spotlight. It captured her essence, not just her physical beauty, but her spirit, her melancholy, and the inner light. He did immortalize her in painting that honored her status as the superstar, and this painting was reportedly deeply cherished by Nora. She kept it close even when surrounded by accolades, trophies, and awards. From his hands to her heart, it represented the rare kind of bond that exists not in headlines, but in gestures that lasts forever, on canvas, in soul. The National Artist Tribute Portrait. The oil painting he made for her when she was awarded the National Artist for Films and Broadcast Arts is perhaps the most heartfelt and historically symbolic of all his tributes to her. A masterpiece of love, reverence, and legacy. When Nora, long considered the greatest Filipino actress of her generation, was finally conferred the title of National Artist for Films and Broadcast Arts, it was a moment of triumph, not just for her, but for every soul who believed in her artistry and journey. Among those who knew her deeply He stood apart, a man who had witnessed her humanity behind the icon and loved her in quiet, enduring ways. In response to this long overdue recognition, he poured his emotions not into words, but into canvas and color. He gave her not just a painting, but a piece of himself and his enduring admiration for the woman who became a legend. But unfortunately, Nora had not laid eyes on the painting until her last days. He saw her as a timeless artist whose journey defied the odds. The painting was not just to celebrate her title. This was like to say, "You have always been a national artist in my eyes," long before they gave you the medal. The missing portrait. At some point, this treasured painting disappeared, whether it was lost in a move, misplaced over the years, or taken without permission. No one knows for certain. Its absence left a silence, not just among art collectors or fans, but in the emotional timeline of their private connection. The missing portrait has since become legendary. Wrapped in mystery and nostalgia, this portrait was featured in the movie Lollipops and Roses in 1971. Those who knew about it speak of it with a mix of sadness and reverence, as if it symbolized not only a lost work of art but a lost moment in time. The final, unfinished piece. A portrait left in silence. It is said that Cocoy began painting this portrait during a deeply reflective chapter in his life. Unlike his previous works for Nora, this particular portrait was never finished. Yet in its incompleteness lies a kind of haunting beauty. The strokes he had already laid down were said to be soft, soulful, revealing Nora as a woman seen through the eyes of love and memory. In his studio, the unfinished portrait was discovered after his death. It showed her under stage lights, mid-performance, hand raised as if about to sing. Cocoy reportedly began it days after Nora's death, and he left a handwritten note that read, "For the woman who taught us all how to feel. Thank you, Nora, CL." The unfinished portrait stands as one of the most poignant and symbolic pieces in their deeply emotional, quietly profound connection, more than a canvas left incomplete. It represents a love story paused in time, a work of art that, like their relationship, was filled with intention, meaning, and emotion, but never fully realized in the public eye. The movie Queen painting. This painting is indeed work of art of Cocoy. According to Mr. Francis Tanseco, he stated in his blog that this was confirmed by Miss Marie Cusey, close friend of Guy and Coy. This painting, which features Jaden, son of Ian and grandson of our superstar, showed him looking eye to eye with his grandmother, mesmerized by what he saw. It is a poignant photo showing a great artist and an admiring grandson. According to Mr. Tanseco, it appears that the painting was given to Nora by no less than the painter himself, Cocoy, as a gift perhaps after the box office success of their first movie, Lollipops and Roses. The gesture showed the beginning of Cocoy's love for Nora. Mr. Tanseco stated, "A beautiful love story which is more epic, and even better than, the love story of Romeo and Juliet." In Sir Francis' blog, he stated that Miss Victoria Donato, a solid fan of Nora, mentioned that Cocoy's paintings were being displayed at Nora's living room back then. that from the 70s to 80s, Cocoy as a regular guest in Superstar Show would gift her paintings and sketches. This shows that there are more of Cocoy's paintings and sketches with the superstar as his muse. But where are these artworks now? That remains a mystery. Many of Cocoy's paintings were tied to personal milestones or relationships, like the portraits he made for Nora. His approach to arts was similar to his music and acting, driven by emotion, storytelling, and a love for beauty. Cocoy could have created many more masterpieces if he is still with us for 1 or 2 decades more, together with our superstar as his favorite muse for the next generation to see and enjoy, giving inspiration and appreciation for the arts and culture. Cocoy artistic tribute to Nora transcended fame. It was a gesture of quiet gratitude, admiration, and deep emotional connection.
I love you, guy.
Cocoy immortalized not only Nora's public persona, but her very soul, and in his final years, as both left the world in close succession, their artistic bond became a moving chapter in Filipino cultural history. Thank you for watching.